Now, the fire is on top of the ground. What's different? How is that different than a pig imu? Where's the fire when you dig the fire? So here would be the pit, and the fire, you would put your logs down here first, you start the fire, and then you put your rocks on top of that, your imu rocks, and then the rocks get superheated, and then it heats up the pig over here. With tea, and they have tea leaves that cover it and all that. And then the dirt comes on top, but there's no fire on top of that. So the fire in a pig imu comes from below. But this, in a human one, the fire comes from the top, no more rocks. And the corpse was baked, in Kamehameha's example, in his thing, for 10 days. 10 days. It may have been different from other chiefs, or depending on the size of the body. I don't know exactly why they chose 10 days. But in the end, what they came out with is this, the next one. So now they have the EV, and then, so they take the body out of the pit, and it's dirty, and it's kind of mushy, the flesh is mostly burnt off, but they have to take what's remaining, clean off any flesh, take clean bones, and then they would disarticulate, they call it in anthropological terms, where you remove the, our bones, our long bones are connected in a socket, and you take it apart, and you take this part apart and this part apart, and you bundle it all together. And then you put that bundle of bones in what's called a ka'ai. And it's a woven, let's see. Let me read this. After removal from the imu, iwi were placed in the Hale mortuary house. A full body bundle open, bones clean, disarticulated, and rearranged into a smaller bundle. This bundle was placed in a ka'ai, a woven casket made of aha, or coconut husk fiber, which is that over there. The eyes and belly button were made, eyes and the belly button were made of mother of pearl. And the teeth were actually, there's teeth in here, real teeth, and in Kamehameha's ka'ai, it was his very own teeth. These bundles are not, neither of these ka'ai are Kamehameha's ka'ai. These are the ka'ai of the high chief Liloa, and then his son, Lona Ikamakahiki. But that's an example of what a ka'ai looks like. Next. So then, while this is going on, a notice was sent out in the community at Kona and other places saying, okay guys, enough of chaos and mayhem in our community. Go to your homes. Be quiet. Follow the laws, because the next portion of the program is very serious and very spiritual, and everything must be calm in the community. So they were ordered to stay indoors. Next. Because this is what takes next, is deification. This is the most important part of the death of Kamehameha, that he ascend to another world, okay, in the afterworld. To a higher level, a higher plane. So we call this in English transfiguration of the ali'i into the realm of Akua Maoli, true gods. The four major gods were Ku, Kane, Lono, and Kanaloa. So transfiguration roughly equivalates to who in the Christian world? Yeah. Transfiguration of Christ into. So this was the most, spiritually, the most important part of the whole death story. Next. The final deification, most of the process happens within the confines of Apuena Heiau. And to oversee that ritual, the deification, the highest kahuna of the land, of the whole archipelago, was a man named Hema. So he comes and he knows all, he's called a kahuna pule. Remember I said there's all kinds of kahuna? Well, within the priestly line, there's many with the different kinds of priestly kahuna. And he was had knowledge of all the pule's religion that were related to deification in particular. So only he could perform this ritual of the highest ali'i of Kamehameha. Next. So his ka'ai was placed on an altar in the Hale mana, the prayer house, and deification prayers made to the god Lono and others. Now, notice in this picture, we have what's called here a lele. It's 4 posts and a platform about 7 to 8 feet off the ground. And before Kamehameha's edict that there were no human sacrifices to be done, a human being would be set on a lele like this. But now, because of the edict, there's a pig instead of a human being there being sacrificed. So a pua'a was killed and placed on the lele sacrificial altar. No human sacrifice per Kamehameha's wishes. Okay. Nawai e ho'ola ina'iwi. Who shall save the bones? Who shall care for me in old age and death? Care for me, my bones. Okay. Nawai e ho'ola e na'iwi. Who shall save the bones? This is what you all came for. Next. But we have to have a little background information about that. So, who recognizes this right here? What do we call this? The Hawaiian coat of arms, okay? And the coat of arms consists of a modern Western crown, a Hawaiian modern, Kamehameha in his reign did not have a flag, but this became the flag of the kingdom. And then these 2 men were twins, Kamanaba and Kame'eaimoku, who were the uncles and advisors to King Kamehameha I. He had many advisors, but these 2 were his uncles. So one of the uncles, Kame'eaimoku, has 2 sons who were half-brothers, Ho'olulu and Ho'opili, half-brothers. This brother, Ho'olulu, just a few weeks after Kamehameha's death, has a child named Kahe'ekai, who was born in 1819. And coming down in the lineage, several generations, comes to this man, William Kahe'ekai Maiholo, who is the living curator at Mauna Ala, the Royal Mausoleum today. So he's the 6th generation curator of Mauna Ala. So he has a very, very, very important lineage here. So here we have this is the only image of Ho'opili wearing a Western jacket and trousers and shoes. But we don't have a good image of Ho'olulu. Well, we do, I should say. Not an older image like this one, but a newer one. Let's look at that. So wait. So Ho'olulu, Kamehameha picked him out in particular. He was the chosen one. You were to hide Na'iwi. And then he brought along his brother Ho'opili, which was okay. Together they had the kuleana to hide the king's iwi. Yes. So here's a modern day picture by Brooke Parker, Brooke Parker, showing Ho'opili here and Kamanaba carrying the ka'ai here. And they're going at night. So you're supposed to hide the iwi at night so nobody can see you where you're going. And here they are. There's different versions of whether Aliʻiōlani, his sacred wife, was there. Some say Ka'aumanu was with them. We're not sure. That's kind of confusing on that one. But these 2 were definitely there. So Aliʻiōlani was the sacred wife of Kamehameha, the mother of Liho, the mother of Liho. And some accounts say they went on a canoe somewhere, we don't know. Well, let's look further into this mystery. Oh, by the way, this painting was given by Brooke Parker to Kai, the current curator, and I went to his house on the grounds of Mauna Ala, and Kai let me take a picture of this painting to show for you. But otherwise, it resides in this house at Mauna Ala. Next. So protocols dictated that all aliʻiʻiwi should be buried secretly, puna kele, at night so that they would not be found by an enemy and used in ways which were humiliating, such as made into fishhooks, pendants, arrowheads, needles, or part of kahili staff, and some other things. Great mana resided in the iwi, therefore an enemy who possessed these gained additional mana. Next. Mahea ina iwi, where are the bones exactly? Next. We know for sure that they're not at Mauna Ala, the royal mausoleum in Nu'uanu on Oahu. Because if you look at the Kamehameha monument there, here's a list of the Kamehamehas buried at Mauna Ala. It starts with King Kamehameha II, and third, and fourth, the fifth, Kahaku o Hawaiʻi, who was the son of King Kamehameha IV and Queen Emma. And here's Queen Emma. No King Kamehameha I over here. Although many people still today, well not many, a few people I think, believe he is at Mauna Ala. But Kai, who was the curator of Mauna Ala, told me to my face just a few months ago that no, he's not there. He learned that from his father, who learned it from his mother, who learned it from his grandmother, and generations of this knowledge has been passed down. And he swears on the Bible that Kamehameha the Great is not there. Okay. Next. Some people in Kohala say, oh, he must be buried in the Kohala because that's where he was born. Logical place, right? Take him back to where he was born. But that's not a very verifiable one. It doesn't have so much credence, but that's only me interpreting that. You talk to people in Kona, I'm sure they'll say, yep, no, he's over there. Okay. This is Kamehameha Kahi, Kamehameha I, Aina Hana, birthplace. Very beautiful place. Anybody been there? Yeah, not too many people raise their hand because it's a little hard to get to, yeah? Yeah. Not that easy. I went one time and I got lost for hours. But I found it eventually. Next. Another place that says he was buried at was at Lahaina in a place called Moku'ula, which was a traditional burial ground, but traditional burial grounds were everywhere. And I talked to a very knowledgeable scholar just a few months ago about this, and he did a big study over here, and he said, no way, Nanette, cross that one out. He's not there. So I'm passing on to scholars. And other people say he's buried in Iʻo Valley, but no evidence, solid evidence on that one. Next. Another contender, early on in August 1819, a French ship comes into the port of Kailua Bay. And they get out, and there was a cartographer who makes maps on the journey, on a ship of exploration in the Pacific. Duperret was the cartographer. And he went all around identifying different sites and mapping it and taking depth gauges and doing all that kind of scientific stuff that they find. And so he draws his map in August 1819, just a few months after the death of Kamehameha, right? So he's there shortly after, and he draws on this side. This is Kamakahonu, okay? He lists out the points that he identifies. So he goes, there's A, B, C, D, E, F, and C right here, within the circle is C right here. He identifies as the tomb of Tamahama, the tomb of Tamahama. Now, does that make any sense to you? Having heard this, what I told you about hiding chiefs, Evie?
I in plain sight.
Yeah. Hide in plain sight, right? Okay. But here's my theory on this: that Duperrey was a very talented, very well-known cartographer. After all, he got selected to go on this ship of exploration, and he did a good job for his company, his ship, and the king and the French. But he was a foreigner who just arrived for the first time in our islands in 1819, and he went about the community, and how much Hawaiian do you think they could speak? Zero. But they made, they tried, as foreigners did in the early years, they put together pieces, and all of these ships of exploration, the French, the Russians, Germans, when they came into the islands, they picked up a few words. They learned a little bit of Hawaiian, nothing to speak of. So this is my guess that Duperrey, in hearing people who could speak English in the community, maybe like Don Francisco Marin or John Young, who were living in the village, they were trying to put together things that they saw, and I think they saw the holly that Kamehameha died in, and interpreted that to be the place where he was buried as well, someplace in the compound. I can't say, oh, how horrible, because that was the norm for those days. They didn't know any better. They're doing their best to try to interpret what they're seeing and hearing. But he just was totally wrong. Kamehameha's bones would never have been buried in the compound, because it's too easy for somebody to know where he was buried and go rob the grave. So this was out. Good try. Go. So another a closer contender, better contender, is a theory that he was buried at a place called Kaloko. Today, it's called Kaloko Honokahau National Historical Park. Here's an aerial view of it here. And Kaloko is 3.6 miles north of Kailua Kona. Now you can see there's a big fish pond here. It's right by the ocean. And so there have been, dispute has been, was he buried in a sea cave or mountain and on a land cave, where along the shore or in the uplands. But if you go to the Kaloko Honokahau National Historical Park website, official website, they say this. Next. Kaloko Fish Pond is highly respected by the Hawaiians as the burial place of King Kamehameha's remains. Although there is no firm proof of this event, his bones were supposedly transported by canoe from Kailua to Kaloko, where the bearers of the royal remains met a man in charge of a secret burial cave, and together they placed the bones in the same depository used by Kahikili. Kahikili was a high chief. So, Kaloko says, for sure he's on our place and probably in this fish pond someplace. So they're going with that. I don't think we can change their mind. But that's not where the speculation ends. Okay, next. This is an interesting case. So decades go on, and their Aliʻi take over, kings take over. After King Kamehameha V dies, King Kalakau is elected to the throne. And in 1885, he sent out two men, who he names as Solomon Keawehaku and Kapalu, to search for the iwi of Kamehameha at the cave of Kahiku o Nā Moku. And I tried looking for where that is, but I couldn't find where that place is. At Kaloko, though. At Kaloko. So this is King Kalakau where the iwi are buried. And so Kapalu said that he knew where Kamehameha's bones were located because his father had taken him there when he was a boy, and he had seen them. He had seen them with his own eyes. At Koloko, the men found the two men found an incomplete set of bones wrapped in kapa and determined them to be those of Kamehameha. Those bones were given to King Kalakaua, who sent them to be deposited at Mauna Ala on Oahu. So this is a long story, and it could be a lecture in and of itself. This story doesn't end. But basically the story is, Kamehameha sent two guys out, they found some iwi wrapped in kapa and determined them to be the bones of the king. Kalakaua believed that, and Kalakaua says he sent those iwi to Mauna Ala. Yes. Here's a letter written in Hawaiian, which is identified at Bishop Museum as a certificate written by King Kamehameha. Here's his signature down here. Oh, what did I say? Oh, Kalakaua. Okay. So, and then that letter was transcribed into English next. And that's how we get the story. So, here's another version of the Kalakaua story. That Kalakaua directed his kahuna priest to go in search of Kamehameha's iwi in Kona. After traditional rites and chants, the kahuna sent out a special jet black pig in search of the iwi. The pig found an incomplete set of bones wrapped in kapa buried in the ground, and the kahuna declared them to be those of Kamehameha. This story is not directly from Kalakaua, but it was written in a letter that was published in a newspaper in the 1821 around, 1921. And so the author of that article says, this is what Kalakaua said. Another version of the Kalakaua story. It's complicated. So, this sounds pretty incredulous to me, that the pig could find this. Well, even if they found a wrapped kapa, how do they know that that's Kamehameha? Because the pig told them? That's the story. Yes. This testimony from the letter to the newspaper, was totally discarded by this woman here, Lahi Webb. Lahi Webb in her youth was a lady in waiting to Queen Aliʻiōlani, and she later worked for Bishop Museum for 20 years. She was highly respected Hawaiian cultural authority. So she did a lot of study on the whereabouts of the king's iwi, and she, along with several others, cultural people, they said, nope, no way, no harm. And she wrote letters. Her husband wrote a letter that are in the Bishop Museum in the same, where do we find it? Not in the same collection, right? Yeah. This is Philip Dieters, my research assistant and dear friend, and he and I, mostly him, found these letters at Bishop Museum after days and hours of searching. We finally found it next. So then I looked at, as we do, any researcher in Hawaii, we look to many sources, but we often go to Samuel Kamakaua, and in these two books, Ruling Chiefs of Hawaii and Kapoʻe Kahiko, the people of Oahu. Let's see what Samuel Kamakaua has to say about where those bones are hiding next. Oddly enough, in one book he says, they're in Keikaha, Kona, 16 miles north of Kailua, Kona. And then in his other book, he says this, that he's buried in Koloko, down here. So here's Kailua Bay, here's Koloko, here's up here. So 3 possible sites in close proximity to one another. Next. So, still inconclusive, a lot of different theories, we don't know for sure. So, where does that bring us to? Where are those bones after all the looking at all that stuff? Okay. Next. Are they in a land cave of some kind? Are they in a sea cave of some kind? Next. There's a famous expression that is almost in every single one of the Kamehameha books and papers that say this: only the morning star knows where the bones are buried. Only the morning stars know where the bones are buried. Until 3 days ago, I did not know what the morning star was. I was looking online, morning star, Hawaii. What is the English name for this morning star? I couldn't find it. So 3 days ago, I was working at the Hawaii Book and Music Festival, and yeah, you were there for that lecture, and there were two people, one Hawaiian, John Mahilona, and another guy, Clyde Ruggles from Great Britain. They collaborated on making a newer edition of this famous star book, star book that was written by John Mahilona, the original, and Rubalek Johnson from UH. So they updated it and added hundreds and hundreds of more stars. So I was at the music festival and I asked John Mahilona, "Okay, John, you're the astronomer. What is the morning star?" And he, right off the bat, he says, "That's Venus." But he said, okay, there's Venus, there's 2 names for Venus. One is the morning star, and one is the evening star. So I said, oh, morning. I read this to him, right? He says, okay, he gave me the Hawaiian name for the morning star. No, I didn't say that. The early morning star. So I have it now. That was very exciting for me to learn that. So only the morning stars know where the bones are buried. Next. Upau, the end. Say it with me.